Moon is no egg. Moon is goddess, wife of sun. It is known. It is known.
Daenerys, which way did you go? Daenerys! Daenerys!
Welcome to a Shy by the Shadow. What do you seek from us, young one?
I want to be the greatest Shadowbinder that ever lived. Karth has been in chaos ever since Daenerys Stormborn left us. What do you want of us? To rule you.
Daenerys Stormborn is a lost cause, but who else is there to support?
She is standing in front of you. My queen, Storm's End is yours, and the Stormlenders are rallying to your banner. Nothing can stop you taking all of Westeros. One man stands in my way. One man.
Oh my god, this is so awesome! Oh man! Ew! Oh no! Ew! Ew! Oh man! Oh man, I can't believe you did that. Oh!
Really, Chad? This is what you've been reduced to?
Oh man, Brandon, what do you want?
This is what you do now? You react to stuff? I thought even this was beneath you. Reacting is the laziest, lowest form of entertainment in existence. You're simply putting your face in front of something popular and then saying absolutely nothing unique, interesting, or insightful. You're just killing time in front of a camera. What kind of sick, deranged human being would do that?
Dude, it's like a public service. Reactions are really useful. They teach psychopaths how to fit in with the rest of society.
Whatever, I'm gonna go bitch about Game of Thrones.
So our episode begins on Dragonstone with Tyrion dwarf-splaining to Daenerys about the storm she was born in. And then finally we get the conversation we've been dying to hear between Daenerys and Varys, which they somehow didn't have during their months at sea. They talk about Varys' hypocrisy in serving Aerys and Robert, the illogic in supporting Viserys, the poisoning incident.
Yeah, it's an unusual amount of continuity. They don't really solve any of the problems, but at least they bring up...
Hello, Brandon. Long time no see.
It's my arch nemesis, the Shade of the Lamp. You have a lot of nerve coming here. You killed my mother, raped my wife, and stepped on my shoes of azure suede. Give me one good reason why I shouldn't kill you now.
Yes, Brandon, I did kill your mother. I did rape your wife. I did step on your shoes of azure suede. But I find if you bring up something, no matter how illogical, and simply recognize it, then you can just move on and it seems like it makes sense.
You make a good point, Shade of the Lamp. Racquetball next week?
Racquetball it is.
Well, I'm glad all of that was resolved.
Next, Melisandre arrives after being God knows where for the past few months. You know, had I written this, I would have just had her commanding Stannis' token force when Dany arrived, and then had her immediately surrender to Dany.
But dude, we got that awesome "shall we begin" line.
Sure, but imagine that last episode with Dany instead opening the throne room and finding Mel and Stannis' remaining men kneeling to their new queen. That would have been a neat shock ending. Ah well, spilled milk, I suppose. Anyway, Mel reveals that there is a prophecy about the prince that was promised, and then Missandei translator-splains to Dany, who, by the way, grew up speaking High Valyrian and is fluent in the language, that prince is gender neutral. Mel says, "Whoa, slow down, I may have been talking about Kit Harington." And Tyrion says, "I know Kit Harington, I hung out with him for a month 6 years ago."
Tyrion even has the nerve to say that he's an excellent judge of character. Let's remember that his first best friend, his brother, was a sister fucker who tossed a boy out a window and then murdered his cousin for a chance at escaping. Then he fell in love with Shay, who was a two-timing schemer who banged his dad and testified against him in court. And now his new best friend is Varys, who Dany already recognizes as a horrible human being. Anyway, a raven is sent north, though I have no idea where Dany got a Winterfell raven from.
Maybe Stannis' men left out like 2.5 years of feed.
Anyway, we get a little continuity porn as Tyrion reminds Kit Harington of an inside joke.
This is breaking news from Sweet Robin's Davos Watch. Davos Seaworth has spoken. I repeat, Davos Seaworth has spoken. He reminds everyone that dragons breathe fire. We will be following this story closely as it develops. Next, we make it to King's Landing, where Cersei is actually acting pretty darn logical and trying to rally her lords by telling them true stories about Dany.
Though I'm not sure why any of them would come. The city could be raining with dragonfire at any moment.
Good old Randall Tarley has teleported to King's Landing, though we're not sure why he didn't teleport to Oldtown to get his sword back. Jaime takes him aside and offers him the Reach for his support.
I have to say, Randall Tarley's loyalty is all over the map. He seems to support the Lannisters enough to bring himself and his heir to the city, but he's also supporting the Tyrells too. Of course, if he's supporting the Tyrells, that would make him a fantastic hostage. I mean, pick a liege and go with it, am I right?
Maybe he was playing hard to get. Meanwhile, back in Oldtown, our new star of the show has received no punishment for stealing keys or books, and Jorah has decided to no longer leap at people like a feral dog or sit in the dark. Jorah finds out he has about 6 months before he goes loony, and so Ebrose tells Jorah to go fucking kill himself. Lucky for Jorah though, coincidences are abound, and Sam knew Jorah's dad.
Next, under the Red Keep, Qyburn takes Cersei to see the dragon skulls. Weirdly, Cersei mentions that Robert took whores down here, which must have made for some weird, angry sex, as Robert went into a blind rage when he even thought about Targaryens. Once again, Qyburn proves to be a much, much better master of whisperers than Varys was, as he learned that Dany's dragons were injured in the fighting pits in Meereen, and has devised a way to deal with them.
Next, we head back to Dragonstone for Dany's War Council. And I'd just like to remind everyone that that table that Yara is leaning on, that Daenerys was caressing last episode, is where Stannis and Mel used to fuck. So Yara, like any rational human being, is wondering why they don't just attack King's Landing, like, now. And yes, Yara, yes, we'd all like to know.
Tyrion's excuse seems to be the loss of life, which quickly leads to a confrontation between Ellaria and Tyrion. Ellaria brings up the fact that Oberyn died for Tyrion, and Tyrion brings up the fact that Ellaria murdered his innocent niece who he lived with in the Red Keep for many years and liked a lot. It makes you wonder how these two could ever possibly team up.
Hello, Brandon.
Oh, hello, Shade of the Lamp.
Brandon, I just wanted to let you know that I borrowed your car and I totaled it. Additionally, I crashed into your sister, and she's dead.
Wait, what?
Yes, well, now the topic's been brought up, it's been recognized, and now we can simply move on.
Oh, right. Yes, I guess so.
So, for some reason, Tyrion and Dany think the best strategy for winning the war is to not attack King's Landing. Why? Because attacking with Dothraki and Unsullied would prove Cersei's claim about foreign invaders, and a dragon attack would cause too much death. A better strategy, or so they claim, is to surround and besiege the city with Tyrell and Dornish forces, while using the Unsullied to attack Casterly Rock.
Now, I can buy that Tyrion has some reservations about attacking and killing his brother and sister, and is secretly sabotaging himself on a subconscious level. Fine. But honestly, every other person in this room should recognize that Tyrion's plan is fucking horrible. Rather than just, winning the war, they 1. Plan on sailing around the entire continent to attack a site that doesn't immediately win the war. 2. Don't want to use foreign fighters to attack location A, but then turn around and use foreign fighters to attack location B. And 3. Don't want to kill people with dragons, but then want to do a siege which will probably starve even more people. Yara even nods in this scene. She must be nodding, yes, that's the dumbest plan I've ever heard.
Anyway, next we get this erotic scene with Grey Worm and Missandei, where the two of them disrobe and then... Oh, I'm sorry, this is the wrong still. Right, it's this one. And then we find out that it's not just Jon Snow who innately knows how to perform oral sex on women. Anyway, back with our main character, we find out that Ebrose, clearly a medically focused archmaester, is writing a history on the War of the Five Kings for some reason. And then Sam mentions that there is in fact a way to save Jorah with the writings of Archmaester Pylos. Pylos apparently got promoted in this universe before dying of grayscale. But the whole procedure is forbidden. But we're talking about Sam Tarly here. He steals swords, he steals keys, he steals books, he fucks women, he maintains his weight. Rules, even those of the universe, aren't made for Sam Tarly.
Oh man, in our next scene Jorah is writing a letter. And yes, it really does say Khaleesi at the top. Somehow, this Lord of Bear Island, while using a quill and addressing a queen, and while writing an apparent suicide note, decides to print his pet name for Daenerys at the top. Anyway, Sam arrives and we go fairly quickly right into some painful surgery. I don't see how Sam is going to finish by morning, and yes, I do wonder if Jorah's got grayscale on his junk. I mean, look at this. His grayscale goes way below his belt loop.
And this scene transitions to Wolverine running into Azor Ahai at the inn at the crossroads. The two have some baker-to-baker conversation, and then Hot Pie reveals to Arya that Kit Harington is king in the north.
Oh, come on. She was hanging around the twins for 2 weeks posing as Walder Frey, and she didn't get any news from the north. What kind of incompetent maester does she have? I mean, if she didn't, that means the Northerners are huge dicks. None of them sent word that Walda died. No letters mentioned the Vale army passing. Arya was so in the know that she was able to play Walder for 2 weeks and even knew Talisa was pregnant somehow, but is so out of it that she doesn't know that a war happened in the north. Even Ed Sheeran didn't mention anything.
It also seems to be public knowledge that Cersei blew up the Great Sept. I'm not certain how anyone could still be supporting Cersei after such a... Oh, hello, Shade of the Lamp.
Meanwhile up north, my fourth favorite maester gives a letter to Kit Harington. It's from Sam, telling him about the dragon glass on Dragonstone. And so Kit Harington decides to tell everyone that he's heading to Dragonstone to get some dragon ass. Though everyone seriously hates the idea, even lovesick Lyanna Mormont.
And Sandra even openly defies Kit Harington several times, which is especially weird considering he just said last episode that this was a problem, and he could have easily prevented it by simply cluing Sandra in before the meeting. Instead, the Northerners look like a bunch of disorganized chumps.
Next, Kit Harington decides to visit the Winterfell statue of Boromir in the crypts. And then Littlefinger decides to crash the party and mentions that he knows Tyrion. Of course, Tyrion is likely to spill some beans about Littlefinger, namely that he's the one that betrayed Ned and stopped his coup. Littlefinger for some reason decides it's in his best interest to act creepy, gets choked, and then smiles afterwards. This all better be part of some master plan.
And then back in the Riverlands, Arya is building a fire and runs into Nymeria. Arya wants Nymeria to head to Winterfell with her, but even Nymeria can't deal with Arya's bullshit.
And finally we get to some action already. The Sand Snakes are arguing in their hammocks, and Yara is trying to taste the Dornishman's paramour. But then Euron attacks, and it's fight, and it's boss battle. And then Euron proves how strong he is by taking down Obara, and then Lady Nym, and then Worf. And then there's some more fire, and then Theon has to face his proxy Ramsay. But at his time to shine, he just jumps in the water.
I'm sorry, but why didn't Euron's men just go in the water and get Theon?
Yeah, it seems like a really easy capture.
Man, you guys just ruin everything. Who are you, bro? And why are you holding that sack?
I serve the real queen, and you, sir, are my prisoner.
Hey!
So, should we do something?
You wanna grab a sandwich?
Yeah, okay. The straw floor stank of urine. There was no window, no bed, not even a slop bucket. Once the door slammed shut, he had seen no more. The dark was absolute. He had as well been blind. Chad closed his eyes and opened them. It made no difference. He slept and woke and slept again. He did not know which was more painful, the waking or the sleeping. When he slept, he dreamed. Dark, disturbing dreams of blood and broken promises. Chad Summerchild!
Dude!
Chad wept.
I'm going mad.
Promise me, Chad, Lyanna had whispered from her bed of blood. She had loved the scent of winter roses. Promise me, Chad.
I promise. Promise what?
Promise me you'll kill this baby. Just throw it in a chasm or something. I don't want this raped baby walking around. The thought of it makes me sick to my stomach. Just do this for me. It's my dying wish. Promise me, Chad. Promise me.
Well, there's one broken promise.